Hi everybody, welcome to my channel, Be Free Now with Maria. So today I'm going to start out with, here it is, this deck, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. All right, and I've already shuffled my deck, so the card on top is this one, and it says, goodbye to sadness and drama. Love that. Goodbye to sadness and drama. That's right, goodbye. All the sadness and drama you have lived in your life was rooted in making assumptions and taking things personally. The whole world of control between humans is based on that. Take a moment and consider this. So I want to take a moment and consider that, because with our thoughts, we are creating, activating emotions within ourselves. In other words, we are having these thoughts that are personal in nature. For example, they don't like us, or they think I'm this, or anything along those lines. And we start to, once we start to personalize it, we start to experience emotions that start to run amok, right? So it's not even that sometimes they don't like us or whatever, right? It's not even to say that it's not even true. They may not, but it's how we perceive that, right? And how we interpret that and what that represents to us that we have to look at. In other words, well, maybe they don't like us, but how we feel about that, right? That's the important thing, because we're not always going to be everybody's cup of tea. But if we're going to take someone not liking us personally, then we're going to find ourselves, yes, experiencing a lot of sadness, and a lot of drama is going to come from that, because we have this story connected to it. In other words, this belief system of like, they don't like me because, right, or they don't like us because of X, Y, and Z. But it's probably that they're having a bad day, or maybe they're not really liking themselves at that moment, so they can't give us their best selves. In other words, they can't show up the way we prefer them to, or they can't appreciate what we have to offer in that moment. But it's never really personal. It just feels that way. And we want to be able to separate the two, because if we don't separate the two, then yes, we're going to feel a lot of sadness, and there's going to be a lot of drama, because there's going to be a lot of frustration, and we're going to have all of these thoughts that are going to wear us down, because emotionally it's going to take a toll on us. In other words, we're going to find ourselves spinning, feeling really overwhelmed, feeling really yucky inside, and very frustrated, or wanting to force things or control things and change things, when in reality, right, we can allow other people the space and their own opinions, and foster self-love in that moment. In other words, if we're feeling uncomfortable with how somebody else is feeling about us, or we're taking anything in life personally, then yes, we want to pull back, right? And notice that, and then yes, practice some self-love, because that's how we're going to be able to fill our cup and not need other people to approve or to show up the way we want them to, right? We're going to be able to give ourselves what we need, and to depersonalize whatever that person is bringing to the table, or whatever circumstance we're going through in that moment. We're recognizing the impermanence of things and allowing that to exist. In other words, situations may come up also that may feel personal. For example, we don't get the job that we wanted to get, and we personalize it and judge ourselves as not being good enough, or not smart enough, or something, not enough of something, and we personalize the experience, not recognizing, right, that maybe that wasn't the right fit for us, and maybe in some way, in a spiritual way, we were being protected. In other words, that didn't work out for us because it wasn't really in our best interest. I mean, yes, we wanted it because we thought it would give us something, right, or fulfill a need for us, but it doesn't mean that it was definitely in alignment for us. Maybe it wasn't in alignment for us, and it's like, when one door, makes me think of like when one door closes, a bigger and better door opens. Sometimes we don't always get what we want, but we get what we need. And that's important, to recognize that as well, and to recognize, right, the impermanence of things. Things aren't necessarily, stagnant. Things are changing all the time, and things aren't always working against us. They're working for us, and things aren't as personal as they feel. They just, we're just perceiving them that way. They're just not as personal as they feel. They really have something to do with, what that other person may be going through and so forth. So we want to make sure that we distinguish that so we don't get caught up in that and create, and stir up all these emotions that then become unregulated within us and basically run amok. And then we find ourselves, right, in living in this intense drama in our minds and in our outward experiences, because ultimately it's going to affect how we show up to life. So before I go any further, I also want to pick a word from my bag of words and see what else I'm inspired to share. So let's see. I'm going to dig deep inside. Let's see what we get. Oh my goodness, as I was pulling this out, by the way, and grabbing a word, I saw the word let go. So I thought that was interesting. So I'm going to use that even though I didn't pick it out. And then I did pick out depression, so which is interesting because when we personalize, we're going to walk ourselves into a depressive state. Even if it's not, a clinical diagnosis, right? It's a depressive state. In other words, our mood is going to get depressed and we're going to feel really uncomfortable, but it's like a disservice. We're doing a disservice to ourselves, when we start to personalize. And it's not easy to depersonalize, but it's a practice, right, that we want to start cultivating so that it can become easier and it can become a habit, as opposed to the habit of, putting ourselves down or personalizing, making it the new habit to kind of like, okay, wait a minute, what am I believing here? And questioning that. And, shifting the tide, not just getting swept by it, right? We want to move over and we want to start questioning it so that it's not consuming us or drowning us in emotions and overwhelming us to the point where we're feeling depressed, low in mood. Now we don't want to really function. We don't want to go out as much. We don't want to seek, more work or more opportunities, and or explore more because we're feeling this yuckiness. And now going to the word that I saw, right, let go. It's funny that I saw that because it was something I thought about this morning, right? It's like, it made me think of let go, let God. And it's really, right, about letting go of what we're holding on to be, as truth, and to learn to walk, in truth, in knowing that we are divinely supported, right? When we're walking in faith, right, we are trusting that, that there's a synchronicity to life, and that we don't have to control all of the elements, right? But we have to understand some of them, navigate through them, but we don't have to control all of the elements. Some of the elements are there and we can allow them to exist, and also, right, cultivate a shift in perspective, which is from, this is like a terrible thing, to I don't understand why this is happening, but I trust that it is in my best interest, right? So when we rephrase something from, this to this, right, it's gonna change how we feel, because we're not looking at it as all bad, or we're not personalizing it and overwhelming ourselves with that. We're creating that, distinction, that cognitive distinction, and not just letting ourselves spiral, down the rabbit hole that doesn't feel good to us. So we want to reel ourselves in, we want to let go, and we do want to let God. We want to make room, right, for the organization of life, right, for the synchronicity of life, and trust that we're not walking alone, and that even if we can't see something, it doesn't mean that it's not there. It makes me think of like, right, when you plant the seed, you don't see, right, that the seed is growing, but until it sprouts, but it's growing. We just don't see it. And, whatever isn't working out for us is giving us something. We just not seen at the moment if we're not open to seeing it, or if we're personalizing it, right? Then we aren't able to see what is there. So in order to shift, right, from a space where we're going to depress ourselves more in mood, we want to bring ourselves up more in mood. And when we take time to reflect and to affirm, things that are more loving, and we give ourselves that time to love ourselves and to appreciate ourselves, or to see, our good, and to praise ourselves, and to start shifting from personalizing and say, I don't know why they feel this way, but it is really not mine to understand. What's for me to understand is what I'm feeling at this moment, and what I can do to learn from what I'm feeling in this moment. That's what's ours to manage, not what somebody else is thinking or acting like, and so forth. So I know that maybe it sounds like a lot, but hopefully it's something that's manageable if we do it, one step at a time. In other words, one emotion, right? Acknowledging that emotion, or whatever situation comes up, acknowledging that, and not allowing ourselves to just get caught up on what the other person is doing. Taking a pause and noticing how we're feeling, or what we're thinking in that moment, whatever is easiest, whatever works for us. But starting wherever we can and shifting that tide, getting things moving, and not just letting all that other stuff, sweep us away. So I'm going to end with that. I hope that this video helped you in some way, and that you have a beautiful day. If this video did help you in some way, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified when I upload further videos. And if you want to learn more about the work that I'm doing, you can go to my website at, actually, I won't even say it because sometimes I mess it up. It's down in the description below. All right, bye for now.